Very good afternoon to you all. Thanks for the introduction, sir. Our chair, Mr. Bansalji, already explained the brief introduction about what is the transition is happening in the energy sector overview. But now we'll be seeing what refiners are going to do to take it forward to meet that deadline. Refiners are facing these challenges over the year and successfully coming out with solutions. For the last 2.5 decades, if you see, we were chasing behind sulfur. And successfully we have overcome and we met all the specifications of BS6. Now it is the turn for net zero. What is net zero? Let us start with carbon neutral. You are carbon neutral if the amount of carbon you are releasing to the atmosphere is same as the amount of carbon you are recovering from the atmosphere. Then what is the difference between the carbon neutral and zero emission? Net zero emission is, it is mostly probably it is covering that carbon neutral, but it is also having some other anthropogenic greenhouse gases like methane, nitrous oxides, etc. Still, even though we are reducing that emission level at the refinery, still there will be the generation happening in our refinery. So how to address, how to offset the generations in somewhere else? All those things are coming under the strategies for refineries. See, these greenhouse gas emissions we can classify it into 3 different scopes. Scope 1 is nothing but whatever the emissions being generated within the boundary of any organization is generally referred as scope 1. For refineries perspective, it is mainly starting from the combustion. Whatever the energy we are emitting through combustion, mainly from our boilers, furnaces, heaters and turbines. All those things are forming that combustion emissions. And in process also, while recovering the sulfur from sulfur recovery unit or regenerating the catalyst in our FCC catalytic cracking unit, all those things are part of process emissions. Other than that, we are also having some emissions due to venting and fugitive emissions. That also part of scope 1. And during sometime planned shutdown or unplanned shutdown, there will be the emissions from the our flare. That also part of this scope 1 emissions. Now, coming to scope 2 and scope 3, whatever the indirect emissions happening, for example, whenever we are procuring the power from the outside for our own consumption, while generating the power, what was the emission happening? That is coming under scope 2. And in scope 3, all other indirect emissions, like for example, with refinery perspective, suppose we are taking the crude oil to the refinery. What are the energy we consumed while taking this crude oil into refinery in the oil tanker, whatever the emissions happening? So that is coming under scope 3. Similarly, end products. Here for refineries, end products are transportation fuels, mainly diesel and petrol. So when at the end user point of view, when they are using our product and when they are emitting that, during that use, there will be the emissions. So those parts are coming under scope 3. So, you know, BPCL is one of the 8th best industry, as well as in India, they are the best industry among in the oil sector. For the 29 oil and gas sectors assessed by the Dow Jones Sustainability Index. And BPCL one of the first Indian company to give that statement that we will be having the target of meeting the net zero by 2040 in line with our COP26. So if you see the type of emissions we are taking happening in the refinery, we can classify into 4 sectors. In that, first one is the primary, that is combustion. It is accounting around 75% of our emission is happening through the combustion process. And next one is hydrogen. Hydrogen mainly we are using for our process units for hydrotreating as well as hydrocracking. That consumes around 13% of our total emissions. And next one is power. Power is mainly used in our refineries for pumps and compressors. That is taking around 11% of our total emissions. And remaining very negligible amount is flaring. That is only less than 0.4%. So now we'll concentrate more on the combustion fuels, because 75 to 80% of that total emission is coming from our fuels. So we are having different types of fuel based on the refinery configuration. Mainly fuel oil and fuel gas are the main sources for our combustion in the refinery. But based on the process units, suppose if you are having FCC in our configuration, there will be the coke generation. That will emit the CO2. Similarly, pet coke, whoever is having delayed coker unit, they will be having that pet coke product. Sometimes they may be using in their boilers. And for turbines, along with natural gas, some refineries may use either naphtha, gas oil or kerosene for their as a fuel. So these are the total fuel we are using in the refinery. And based on that their configuration, that types of fuel used will be vary. For highly complex in refineries, when compared to simple refineries, they need more energy for value upgradation of these process streams. So for those units, due to more energy, that emissions also will be more. So along with complexity, our emissions also will be higher. So how to handle, how to reduce those emissions? What are the roles of refineries? Environmental sustainability should be the priority for refiners. They have to start what is the emissions they are producing, and we have to measure how much we are producing, and we have to monitor and find the way to reduce those emissions, along with, suppose if it is inevitable, how to do the capturing those whatever we are emitting in the refinery. All those things we have to start analyzing. Since every refinery is unique, there is no single blanket solution for all the refineries. Combination of the energy solutions will be the better option for the refiners. See, every refinery will be having that set of standards for measuring the emissions, but it is not true when you are going for the outside. Suppose some global agency is coming for audit, they may be finding different kind of calculation for comparing with other refineries. So whatever the emissions we are measuring, there should be the standardized format. Our IPCC has created the guidelines, and it is also suggested what are the energy factors we have to use for different types of fuels what we are using in the refinery. And whenever we are starting this net zero program, there should be the clear-cut baseline year for each refineries, so that progress of that energy reduction we can compare over the period of time. And for BPCL, we have chosen 2019-20 as the baseline for our net zero target. So for we have told that scope 1 and scope 2 will be the target for all our refineries that will be achieving by 2040. So for tier 1 and tier 2 will be used for scope 1 and scope 2 respectively. So what are the roadmap for refineries? For currently, as a short-term plan, we are going by three green initiatives. First one is green innovations. So what are the things to be done in the refinery to reduce the emission at the source, and what are the other technologies available to upgrade the existing technology that we are looking on in green innovations. And next one is green hydrogen. So currently we are using the gray hydrogen. Now moving forward, we have to maximize the green hydrogen. What are the technologies currently available? What are the technologies currently coming up? All those things we have to evaluate, and we have to go for the right technology. And another one is the green power. So we are generating more power in our in-house captive power plant. Now in due course we will be going for more renewable electricity from outside. And in long term, we are aligning with petrochemical demand. We are going for the new petrochemical units integrated with our refineries. And we are also in the process of upgrading technology for our process units. And finally, suppose if it is inevitable to emit the carbons, we will go for the carbon capture, utilization and storage. So now we'll see what are the under green initiatives, what are the things to be carried forward. Currently, our benchmarking for energy is done by Solomon. Currently, all our refineries are under quartile 2. So we have the action plan for moving from quartile 2 to quartile 1, so that our energy emissions will be coming around by 1.5 million carbon dioxide emission will be able to reduce by moving from quartile 2 to quartile 1 by incorporating, like, first we have to target steam consumption reduction, how to reduce the steam, and for that we are going for, instead of steam turbines, we will be going for the electric driven motors, and we are going for, instead of steam tracing, we are going for electric heat tracing, and all our process units are getting optimized using digital twins to reduce the further energy consumption. And we are also going for heat and energy recovery system, and we are trying to maximize our RLNG. Currently we are using fuel gas and fuel oil for our fuels, SF fuels, and going forward we will try to maximize RLNG. Because yesterday discussion, our chair told that there is a 50% reduction in the carbon dioxide emission for the same amount of heat we are generating from the fuel oil as well as natural gas. And also we are going for more renewable energy production, and we will import more, and for that we are also creating sufficient infrastructure to handle additional electrical load to our refineries. So in green power, next pillar is green power. Currently we are having 42 megawatt of renewable sources, renewable energy we are generating from our refinery, BPCL, and we are having the ambitious target of 1 gigawatt by 2025, and moving forward 10 gigawatt by 2040. And to spearhead this initiative, there should be a constant follow-up and constant push this decade. For that, we have created the new verticals called Renewables Business Unit in our portfolio. And currently, we are identifying that areas where we can put up this additional power requirement, solar power panels where we can put, our wind energy where we can put. We are finding the land parcels. And we are also exploring partnership or JV models to take these projects more moving forward. And see, there are challenges. See, if you are going for this hydel, wind energy or solar energy, we cannot get this 24 hours requirement for our running the process units. So there should be some power banking as well as battery management system is required. So for that also we are having that exploring new opportunities as well as new technologies. Also we are going with joint venture with some whoever is coming forward to meet these challenges. And green hydrogen. As per the latest guidelines from the government, we have to go for this green hydrogen minimum 10% by the year 2030.
1 more minute.
Yeah, currently we are going by around 10%, first as a phase 1 we are going by 20 megawatt electrolyzer capacity, that will having the capacity of hydrogen production from 8 tons per day, we are setting up in the Bina. So first, next final one is carbon capture, utilization and storage. Now that CCUS is a nascent technology being developed in the sector, and we are just evaluating what are the technologies are available and whether it is cost effective or not. Our target is that by 2030 we will start implement, before 2040 it will be implemented. And we are also having that option with ONGC to utilize this CO2 for their enhanced oil recovery in their wells. And we are also talking with some startups to make this happen. So it is a summary of our net zero path forward for refineries. So these are the three initiatives: green innovations, green power and green hydrogen will be the sustainable solution for net zero. And we are also focusing on currently reducing the emission through combustions, because that is forming 75% of our carbon emissions. And we are also in switching from current fuel oil to natural gas to meet the current requirement. So I am concluding with this. Thank you very much. On the outset, I am thanking World Technology Congress for giving me this opportunity. Thank you once again.
Thank you, Mr. Sathiyanarayanan.